For more updates, click on subscribe and click on bell button for latest notifications. Hi friends, welcome to Tech Arkit YouTube channel. My name is Ravi. In this video session, we are going to see that Red Hat Certified Engineer exam, that EX294, the course overview and the course content. So how you have to prepare for the exam, so what would be there in the exam, so how you can handle the examination and all of these courses, and what you have to practice in order to do this course. So let's begin the our video here. So first of all, we are going to see that the exam details. So what is the exam? So how is exam is going to be? So first of all the Red Hat examinations would be an hands-on practical exams. So they will give you the systems labs, required systems. They will give you the virtual machines or the one physical workstation for you, and they will give you the virtual machines on that and the Ansible control node and the clients. So you have to write the playbooks. So this is the EX294 exam, so which is completely dependent on the Ansible. Okay, so the exam duration is going to be 4 hours. The exam is going to be 4 hours. Out of 300 marks, you have to get 210 for the pass. So you have to get 210 marks for pass out of 300 marks. So in order to write this examination, what you have to have, basically the prerequisite for this one is that you have to pass EX200, the RHCE examination, whether it is an RHCE 7 or RHCE 8. So anything can be okay. So if you pass already RHCE 7, then you can write this RHCE with EX294 examination. Okay, so either you have to have the relevant IT experience in order to write this RHCE 8, the RHCE 8 version EX294 examination. So after your hands-on practical is done, then the results will be announced in 3 US business days. So if you read the examination, you have to wait maybe 1 or 2 days in order to get your results. So the results will get something like this module, something like you have get this many marks, total is going to be a so and so marks. But the Red Hat will not going to give you any results based on your question. So the question marks, all the details. So they are not going to reveal anything like what you have written on the examination, what is the wrong or right, something like that. The end of the day you will get the marks and whether you are pass or fail. That's it. So they will not going to give in detailed what is the question is and what is you have answered anything. So this is the name non-destructive agreement between the Red Hat and the candidate who is writing. So you don't need to disclose anything from the examination to the after coming from the examination. You don't need to disclose anything, so which is a non-disclosure agreement between Red Hat and the candidate who is writing the examination. So let's jump into the course content. What is the course content you have to prepare for this examination? So the course content is going to be understand and use essential tools. So the basically you have to understand the system, the RHCE 8 version and the essential tools, and operate a running system. So example say that how you can stop the services, and how you can do all of this basic configurations using the command line or the GUI interface, and configure the local storage in the sense configuring the partitions and expanding the partitions and reducing the partition sizes, all this, like you have to know the file systems, ext4, XFS, all of this. Then create and configure the file systems, so which is similar, and deploy, configure and maintain the systems. Examples are that you have to install the packages and configure the configuration files and maintain the systems upon the configuration. So that is what the you required. And manage users and groups, so you have to create the users, groups, providing the permissions, all this stuff. And major is the managing the security part of it, like how you can manage the system security. So that is the one part. So here those are the concepts, and those concepts, most of the concepts will be in Ansible. So here the major part of the RHCL 8, RHCE 8 examination is based out of the Ansible concepts. So Ansible is inventory, like how you can do your manual inventory and dynamic inventory. Manual inventory in the sense you have to write the inventory file on the Ansible master node. Then dynamic inventory in the sense you have to integrate your Ansible module with the different inventory tools. Then you have to know the Ansible variables. What is this Ansible variables, and what are those modules, and collecting the facts and disabling the facts sometimes. So what are the Ansible plays, so and what are Ansible playbooks, and how you can write the playbooks. Next one, configuration files, where you can do the Ansible configuration files, how you can configure them, all of this stuff. And Ad-Hoc commands. Ad-Hoc commands in a sense, whenever you want to execute some commands on the multiple systems or the multiple servers, how you can do that using the Ansible Ad-Hoc commands. So the next one is use Ansible modules for system administration part. So this is the major one, and installing and configuring the software packages using the Ansible, and starting, stopping, disabling, unmasking the services using the Ansible modules. And firewall rules, so basically you have to look for the firewall D Ansible module, where you have to write the Ansible rules, like enabling the ports, disabling the ports, allowing, forwarding, all of this, and creating the file systems using the parted Ansible module. And file content, example say that if you want to write some file content or the file configuration, the configuration files using the file module. And creating the archives using the Ansible. And scheduling the task, so basically most of the popular scheduling task uses in the Linux is cron. So you have to use the cron tab or cron services to configure your or scheduling the tasks. The next one is the mitigating the security issues, are like example say that using the patching. Example, you have to update your server patches or the packages, all of this, and disabling the unwanted ports, all of this stuff comes under the security part of it. And the final one is users and groups. So you have to look for the users Ansible modules, where you have to create the users and groups and adding the users to the groups, all of this stuff. So this is about the exam pattern and the exam content, the exam objectives, what you have to learn in order to go for the examination. Let's jump into the this course content or the practical and see that how the this course goes. How to set up Ansible Lab. So Ansible Lab is like for our course practice, and how we can set up, and what is the requirement you have to have, what is the operating system you need, what is the configuration for the system you required for to set up the Ansible Lab. So let's start it. So now if you can see this, so Linux, actually the Ansible requires Linux operating system. So what you can do is that you can set up different platforms, like you can set up one is a Linux operating system with 7, and one is for 8, and one is Ubuntu, and one is SUSE, something like that. So as you are starting as a basic, like for the Ansible, so as a beginner, so you have to first of all test on the only Linux operating system with the same platform, so that it would be do not hesitate you whenever you do something. So that's why I recommend you to do for the beginner. As you are starting as a beginner, you can install CentOS 7 or CentOS 8 or Ubuntu 18 or Ubuntu 19, any platform which is easy for you or which you are currently working on, maybe. Or if you do not have any experience, I say go ahead with the 7 or 8, CentOS 7 or 8. So in this session, so we are going to install CentOS 8 and configure the Ansible. So for here master node, so if we will have one master node and 3 other nodes. So which are the nodes do not have any client installed, so the master node is installed with the Ansible. So all the nodes, the minimum 4 GB RAM is required, because that is a requirement from the CentOS, like the operating system is minimum requirement is 2 GB. So if you done with the 2 GB also, that would be fine. With the minimal installation, that works as well. But if you are going with an GUI interface as a beginner, then you have to have 4 GB RAM for each machine, so that it won't be slow whenever you are accessing the machine. And minimum 2 CPU cores, so for the virtual machine would be enough. And master for 100 GB hard disk, so for the virtual machine. And all the other nodes have to have at least 40 GB hard drive. And so from the master to all the other nodes, network communication will be enabled, and all the nodes would be enabled with SSH server installed and configured. Then we are going to configure the EPAL repository on all of these nodes. Then install Ansible only in master node. So we are going to install only Ansible on master node only. So this is how the setups looks like. So we will have the master node and node 2, node 3, node 4. So here we will have the SSH communication in between all of these, and network communication. Then from the master node, all the nodes will have the keyless password, the passwordless authentication from master to node 2, node 3, node 4, all that stuff. So how we are going to set up these, let's do it on the let's go into the practical and do it. Let's see. So guys, I have here a VMware Workstation Pro 5 Pro. So you can use maybe a virtual box, or if you are familiar with VMware Workstation, you can also do this. So there are also some Express version is also available for the VMware Workstation. You can download, that is an open source one. So now, so what I'm going to do here, it is that I'm just going to create a new folder. I say Ansible Lab. So just for more easy stuff. So now I'm going to just create the new virtual machine here. So say new virtual machine and custom, and say here I would like to select the so maybe I will install the operating system later. So here select the Linux and CentOS 64-bit. Okay, next, and here I will say Ansible master. So here the process I required maybe 4, 2 would be enough, 2 cores would be enough. So here I am going to give 8 GB because I have the system. So here I'm going to use the network NAT. So use NAT so that it would be easy to communicate in between the host. So I'm just going to use the LSI logic here and SCSI and create the new virtual disk. Say here it's 100 GB and store in single. So now, so here if you have any other which is do not wanted, which you don't want, so you can just delete them and click finish. So now my virtual machine has been created, Ansible master. So I'm just going to drop in Ansible Lab. So here, and in similar way, so what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to install the operating system in this machine. So say ISO file from, I just go to here and my CentOS, I just downloaded my CentOS. So here attach that and connect and power on the machine. So now install CentOS. So it start loading the operating system. It's just booting from ISO file. So CentOS 8.0 1905 and click continue. So software selected is as server GUI and installation destination. So let me configure, click customize and go ahead and create the LVM automatically. So you can, it will create the LVM automatically. Here you can see that the slash is 50 GB, boot is 1 GB is enough and swap is 8 GB and home is 41 GB. So that is what we required. So not worry about this, all the partitions. So just click done and say accepted. So here this is what we required. So now set up the time. So okay, and keyboard server with GUI. So maybe you can select if you want anything, maybe server anything. So but for now this machine I'm just going to use GUI. So and set up the network if you have, and here I'm just going to say Ansible master dot tech arkit dot local is my virtual machine name, so it is applied. So now switch on the here and I'm just going to set up, this is a static IP address here. So I just disable the IPv6 to avoid conflicts. 192.168.48 dot maybe I can say 200. So here 0. Okay, so my DNS server IP also is same. So 2. Okay, so this is the IP settings. I am just going to manually add, because every time I don't want to change my Ansible master IP address. So click done. Now begin the installation and set the root password. So whatever it is, I'm just setting the password here. So now maybe you can create, if you want, a new username. So here I'm just going to use so I'm just going to use this one, make this as Okay, so now the installation will start installing the operating system. Let's wait for a few minutes so the installation will complete. In the meanwhile, what we are going to do is that we are going to create the Ansible nodes as well. So just going to create the new virtual machines here, and Linux and CentOS 6 dot, and I say node 1, so maybe 2 processors. Here I'm just going to give 2 GB. So this 20 GB is enough for this, and click and now settings, select this ISO, okay, power on. So now I'm just going to install this machine as well. After that I do not install all this node 2, node 3, node 4, so because I'm just going to clone this machine node 1, and so that for the node 3 to node 4 as well. Click continue, simple. And so here instead of GUI, if you go with minimal installation also, that would be fine for the clients. So I just say minimal installation, or maybe server. So I'm just going to set up the custom partition here and say LVM automatically creates. That's it. Set the root password. So, and if you want create, you can create the user here. That's it. So now the machine is going to be ready in few minutes. Let's wait for the installation to complete. So now operating system is installed successfully. So we have to click on reboot for the machine to be rebooted. So now I'm just rebooting both master and node. So after the restart, so it is asking for the confirming the license configuration. You can just click on a license agreement and finish the configuration. For the GUI mode, it start the GUI configuration, GUI here for the Ansible master, and node 1, so it is not a GUI, just a server, so it will not ask anything here. So now what we have to do is that we have to shut down this machine. So just log in here and do a systemctl power off. So now node 1 is powered off. As per our requirement, this is not node 1, this is node 2. Okay, so now what you have to do is that you can simply click here and clone this one. Okay, so manage and clone, next, and the current state, and create the full clone. So now I say this is node 3, finish. So clone creation has been completed. Now I can see node 3 and drag into this Ansible here. So now again I'm just going to clone this one, clone, and again current state, and create the full clone. and say node 4. So minimum 2 or 3 systems would be fine for us, but we are going to create 4 nodes. So just like if you wanted to do some other practicals as well. So here, so if you do not have any system or the laptop to create your lab, so you can just sign up for the AWS free instance, free tier, using your credit card or debit card. Then you can also create the lab there. So in next section, I'm going to show you that how you can create the Ansible lab on AWS as well. Okay, let's see that in your next session. So let's see that the cloning is going to be complete. So clone has been done. Now we have created this Ansible master, node 2, node 3, node 4. So what you have to do after the clone, so you just edit this node 3 because it is not freshly installed. You can delete this network adapter. So what you have to do is just to delete this one and add the new network adapter here. So new network adapter with the NAT configuration and click OK, because while cloning, so the same settings will come, so the MAC address will be conflict. So you just remove this and add the new network adapter over here, so that should be fine. Okay, so now node 2, node 3, node 4 is ready. So after this, so what you have to do is that you just have to say take the snapshot. So here take the snapshot as fresh OS. So whenever you would like to reset these machines, so again back to the fresh machines, so we can revert back to the snapshot. So that's why you just take the snapshot. So it would be very easy for us to, whenever you would like to reset, so you can simply reset that one. Okay, so what I'm going to do, just say fresh OS. After the installation, we will take one more snapshot so that we can revert it back whenever we required back to this one. So now you just power on all the machines, 1 2 3 4, sorry, so one is already on, one is in the sense master. So now our machines is switched on, it's switching on. So after that, so what you have to do is that you just have to log into your machine and set up your host name, IP address, all the details, and install the Ansible. Okay, so here, so I'm just English, so this is the first setup. Okay, now my machine is on, and you can say wired connections and wired settings here. So this machine is, I already set up the connection, so that's why it shows the IP address as well. See this, so which is already set up. Okay, for this no need to do anything, so just we have to verify that okay, node 1. So just log into node 1 and you can see an empty UI, which is very easy for us to set the host name here. So now I'm just going to set node2.techarkit.local and click OK. So the node setting has been changed. Now edit the connection. So you already have the network configuration here, you just have to edit that one. You can see this. Okay, so now say here it is manual and show. So IP address, just say add 192.168.48.201/24. So this is my node 2 IP address, and I'm just going to add the gateway 192.168.48.2. okay, and DNS, if you want to add, you can add it, because we required a internet connection for this, so that's why I I'm adding the DNS over here. So take arkit.local is the domain name which I would like to search it, and click automatically connect here. So now say OK, back, and click OK. So now 192.168.48.200, yes, I'm able to reach 200 successfully. So that's what I need from this machine. In similar way, you have to set all these node name and IP address details. Let me quickly set up this one. So now I set all of these machines host names and IP address, and communication is working 192.168.48.201. so I'm able to reach node 2, and I'm able to reach node 3, and I'm able to reach it's 203. So I'm able to reach all of the nodes. Now what I have to do is that we have to set up the local host configuration. So if you already have the DNS, add the DNS address. If you do not have any DNS, then you can have to edit the host file. So here is the host file. In this, what we are going to do is that we are going to set up that Ansible Lab machines. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to add 192.168.48.200. I say Ansible master dot take arkit dot local, and I say short name is master. Okay, here I'm just going to add one more entry 201 and node 2 dot take arkit dot local, and the short name is node 2. Okay, in similar way I just copy paste this one and replace this IP address to this address is 3, and replace node 3 and node 4. So here also short name would be node 3 and node 4, and save the configuration. So because when I would like to just call master, it pings, and when I called node 2, it just pings. Okay, like that. So for easy method, we are just going to do this one. So now what you have to do is that you have to install a EPAL repository. So we have to configure the EPAL repositories. So for here, to access all the machines in a single place, you can install maybe a multi-tab putty, or maybe you can also use any tools, but here I'm just going to use mremote-ng, which is the tool I use, which is very handy and useful for me. Okay, so I'm just going to use this tool here. So here what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to add all of these connections here. Okay, so I'm just going to add the master, and this is the SSH2 version, and IP address 192.168.48.200, and the username and the password. So this is because very easy for me to access, so that's why I'm just going to set this up as this one. So I'm just going to clone this one, duplicate, and duplicate all of them, and rename this one to node 2, and rename this to node 3, and rename this to node 4. So now I'm just going to change the node 2 IP and node 3 IP and node 4 IP address. That's it. So now I'm just going to connect node 2, node 3, node 4, all of them. Okay, node 3 is connected, node 4 is connected, and node 2 also connected. So just like this, node 2, node 3, node 4. Okay, so just go to here and say EPEL repository, the Fedora projects EPEL, and click here this one, EPEL repository, and copy the link address here. Okay, so now just go to here and say install the RPM path here simply, and install this RPM. So this RPM, what it will do is that it will just configure the repository m.repos.d. you can see this. So this is the CentOS, and EPEL repository is also configured. In similar way, you can just go ahead and configure this EPEL repository and all the machines, because we have to download some of the packages whenever we write the playbook and install something and configure something on all the nodes. So that time we no need to be in surprise that it may not have the M repository. So if you want to have, you can also configure the local repository, but in local repository you may not have the Ansible package on the master node, but for the remaining nodes it works fine, because most of the packages what we are going to install is only the Ansible package for the master, and remaining are local packages. So in order to install the Ansible, first of all you have to install this Python 3, Jinja 2, Python 3, these two packages. So I'm just going to install them here. So now accept this. Let's install the Ansible from EPEL Playground repository. So you have to specify that repository to install the Ansible. So let's check it up, the Ansible package is there on this repository or not. So yes, so now you can see that Ansible 2.8.5.2, which is going to be installed along with the SSH pass and libsodium, Python 3 and Paramiko. Say yes. So here you have to be very careful whenever you are installing, because whenever you say directly installing the Ansible, which may not sometimes work. So here you have to remember this command to install the Ansible. So now let's say that Ansible version. So Ansible version 2.8.5 has been installed successfully. Ansible inventory, so creating a manual inventory files, and how you can create the inventory files and what is important when you are creating the inventory files. So let's begin the session. So now if you go to the Ansible inventory, Ansible works against multiple systems in your infrastructure at the same time, because when if you are going to the single machine and executing some command, and if you want to execute the same command in a multiple hundreds of servers, then that's what we need, right? That's what the Ansible course is, that's what the Ansible tool is meant for. Then so if you are working within a multiple systems in a same time, then how you can specify that? So you have to specify all of them in a inventory, then you call them. So the Ansible will go and execute the commands on each of the groups. So how we can make them as a groups, so how we can make them as an inventory for executing the playbooks or executing the Ad-Hoc commands, all this stuff. So it does this by selecting portion of systems listed in Ansible inventory, so which defaults is being saved in the location /etc Ansible host. So basically you don't need to create or add the groups or the inventory only in /etc/Ansible/host file. So you can also create a custom inventory files, so where you can also create in your home path or you can also create somewhere else. You can call that file inventory file and execute the playbooks and execute the Ad-Hoc commands. So but by default, when you do not provide anything, so the by default is /etc Ansible host is the file which will Ansible call by defaultly. You can specify a different inventory file using -i, so the path of the inventory file option on the command line. So that's what you can do. Manual inventory, so because so whenever you have a hundreds of systems, you have the your inventory details like their IP address, system names, their usernames and passwords. That's enough for our task to create the manual inventory. But sometimes what happens, whenever you have a cloud environment or whenever you have a big environment where like hundreds of servers are coming up and going down or coming up and commissioning and decommissioning happening, then that time you cannot keep track of them by manual inventory. So you cannot always modify the files like whenever it is deleted, added, all the stuff. So like example, AWS environment or the cloud environment, whenever, so according to the requirement, we spin off an EC2 instances and we terminate them. Okay, so keep track of all the EC2 instances and what are there and how many are terminated, all of stuff. That's not possible always by maintaining the manual inventory. So that time we need some dynamic inventory, so which should be integrated with your CMDB tools or the cloud inventory systems, LDAP, or any other system which you are using as a centralized inventory tool. So where you can integrate Ansible plugins and scripts with them, so that the Ansible plugins and scripts go and get the inventory and automatically they will do it. So whenever the system has been removed, it will also remove from the inventory. Whenever the system is added, it will also add automatically the system into the inventory. So that's a different part. We are not checking that dynamic inventory right now, so we will check it up in later classes. Currently, how we can create the manual inventory files. So let's see that. So now, so what is the rules? So what is the mechanism you can use to do a manual listing? So manual listing based on the maybe like location. Example, say that I have a servers in US location, so I will create the group called USA and I will add all of the host. Or maybe it's server role, like some of the web servers, database servers, or some of the monitoring tool servers or other stuff. So based on your requirement you can create it. Or maybe a application installed. Example, say that the playbook, whenever you are running, so it would be easy that a simple all applications installed. Example, say all web servers, I wanted to run some modification on them. Then you make of that application as a group, then run the playbook against to it, so that the modification can be done on all of the application servers. Maybe it's different from the production and development, or there are so many parameters. Based on your requirement, you create the inventory groups. But these are the small examples where you can use them. So the single host can be a part of multiple groups. So example, say that you have a web server. The web server is part of, example, say that I wanted to create the group based on the operating system. So the web server is in a Linux server, so that it is part of the web servers group and as well as the part of the OS group. So like that you can create or you can add the single host into the multiple groups. Include multiple groups as another children. Like example, say that you have created the groups like web servers, database servers and so many groups, but I wanted to have one more group called all servers. In that I would like to include all of these groups as a children. So whenever I call all servers, then it should call all of the group into that all servers group. So I will show you in demonstration, don't worry about it. So inventory is most useful for the config most useful configuration of the Ansible, because this is required for our Ad-Hoc commands and playbooks all the way whenever you are using the Ansible. So keep that in mind, and let's jump into the practical. So now I am into the master Ansible machine here. So you can also see that there is a node 1, node 2, node 3, node 4 also I have logged into, but those node 2, node 3, node 4 are not required right now, but in a upcoming execution of the Ad-Hoc commands we need those hosts, so that I connected them. So now by default, if you want to create a Ansible groups, so where you have to go, you have to go here on the host file. So currently I just already created some windows here, but here I would like to create a fresh list. So here what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to create a local host, and I would like to create Ansible -master.techarkit.local and node 2.techarkit.local and node 3.techarkit.local and node 4.techarkit.local. So every time, so if I would like to call, example say that, so here, so I have to call node 1, node 2, node 3, techarkit, local, domain, all the stuff, right? So in this way I don't want to call all of them with the full name or the domain name, so I would like to create some short names for them. So how we can call them? So first of all, I would like to create a small group here. So I'm saying that the group called servers, simple servers, and here what I'm going to do, I'm going to add all of them here. So now what I have made one group called servers. So I have added all of these hosts. Whenever I call this servers group, so the Ansible is going to run into all of these nodes and execute whatever I play there. So it may be a play or it may be a Ad-Hoc command. So here if you'd like to create something like different stuff, aliases, I would like to create different aliases over here. So I don't want to call all of them like full names or something like that. So I will create a short names for them. So and I will call up them with the short names only. So maybe for the master I say master here, and I am tying up this full name with this short name, that is called as a short name or sweet name, we can call it as Ansible underscore host equal to the host name here, the complete host name, or maybe you can also give the IP address if you do not have any DNS or you did not set a host file there. So what is the connection I'm going to create here? Ansible underscore connection is in one more string here. So which connection you would like to use? Maybe if it is a name Linux, you maybe use SSH. So here I would like to call Ansible user. So which user should I use to run the commands on these machines always? So how we can use, maybe I will create some users on all the systems and provide some permissions to that user, so that it automatically goes and runs using that user only. Maybe I say that Ansible user 1, or maybe I call it as Ansible U1, so that is the username I would like to use in all the systems. So we just go ahead and create that users on all the systems. So Ansible, maybe if you would like to also specify the password, but I strongly recommend do not specify any passwords on this configuration. So but here just I would like to give the password. So just like you can provide, this option is there, but if you have it, most of the systems which have the different passwords, then you can specify the passwords. You don't need to type all the passwords whenever you execute the connections to the systems. So, or you can also create the passwordless connection if you would like to create, then you don't need to provide any password here. Okay, so now I would call node 2 here in same way. So I would like to copy this everything here, and I just only change this full name here. Okay, let's see this. So another way of creating the group with the children's, so how you can do is that you can maybe, let's say that all, I just say that all, then which means that all the servers, then I call it as children. Okay, so here I can call of them like the groups. Example, say that servers, maybe I can create one more group called nodes here, and say node 2 and node 3 and node 4. So here I just add the nodes as well. So now maybe I do not have much servers, so that's why I'm just trying to show you the group configuration with the similar server names. So here, if you example say that you have a server site, different server site, okay, and if you have a different nodes again, and all of them you can call here as a children's. Now whenever you call all here, all, then all the servers will be executed, like the in the command or the playbook will be executed on all the servers. So this is what the configuration here. So now let's go ahead and run some commands here. So Ansible, so example say that I'm just going to call servers group here, and I'm just going to use module called ping. So now what it says that it's going to execute cannot establish the connection. You have to have the connection first time, so say yes, then which says that the connection is permanently added to the node 1 list known as a. So why you will get this error at the first place? Because so whenever you are trying to connect to the node, so which will generate some fingerprints to store into your known host file, where you can go to this /ssh. Here there is a known host configuration, known host file. So with this known fingerprint should be added into the known host, then only say that the SSL protocol can be established the connection with the remote host. Okay, so in order to do that, you have to go ahead and do something like this. Every node 192.168.48.201, then say yes, then you have to type the password here. So then this way you have to establish all the known host list here, then only you can avoid that error. Otherwise you can also avoid this error by changing the configuration file. So Ansible.configuration file, here there is a configuration called host key. So you can search key, then you can see this host key checking. So if you check this one as a false, then you can avoid that one, but this is not recommended anyway. So you can see that that one will gone, but it says that the permission has been denied because we have a key as a list known key here, but we do not have any SSH passwordless connection here. So I have to provide the password in a host file so that I can able to successfully do a connection to all the hosts. So here you have to specify the password Ansible _SSH_pass. So in all the configurations, so here also, and here also, and here also. Now trying to do a ping, so now you should get the ping configuration. So but it is getting that the permission has been denied. It's not able to log into the remote machine, so which says that the password has been wrong. So in this case, what you have to do is that you have to do a SSH passwordless connection establishment between all the nodes. So before creating the passwordless authentication, so what you have to do is that you have to create the user. So here user add. So what I'm going to do is that Ansible U1 is the username I'm just going to create as we mentioned in the configuration file. So that's why we could not able to get the Ansible user there, so that's why it give the error. So I have provided the username here called Ansible U1. I have provided the password here, but there is no user exists. That's why it says the permission has been denied. But if you say different user, then it should connect to the remote machine. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to create the same user here, and I set the password the user as I mentioned there. Okay, now so in order to execute some root commands or the privileged commands, so what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to add a sudo was here and say at the here I'm permitting the user to execute all the commands. So for that I'm just going to add this way, all equal to in bracket I say all and say no password. So it should not ask any password whenever I execute any commands with the sudo privileges also on that host. So that's why I would like to create this sudo policy, so that the user, whenever I switch back, example say that Ansible U1, sorry, it's Ansible U1. So now whenever I do this sudo, so it become a root, but it will not ask any password. So that way you have to set up these configuration in all of the nodes. Let's quickly create. As the same user and configuration. So now let's try to log in. So I have to remove that Ansible configuration which I made for the key to be false. So here, so I just going to comment this one. By default the host will be verified, and I have to create the passwordless connection. So now use SSH keygen to generate the key here -t, and RSA type is RSA. Now the key has been generated here in the .ssh. So this is the key file which is generated. So in order to get the configuration, the passwordless authentication to the remote host, so I have to generate the SSH keygen here also, but not required on the host, but just for creating the .ssh directory and with the correct permission. So I'm just going to generate the SSH keys on all the host. Okay, so now I have generated all the key. Now what you have to do is that just copy the SSH keys to the remote user. So copy ID and you can specify the username Ansible U1 at node 2. So now it says that yes, and provide the password. The connection, the user with the SSH key will be copied. Now I'm just going to make to the node 3 and similar way node 4 and similar way Ansible master. .192, 168.48.200. Okay, and so now all the host has the SSH connection and the fingerprints has been added to the local host. You can see that known.ssh and known host. You can see that all the hosts with their known fingerprints has been added. Now if you do a Ansible and I would like to call the servers group and use a ping module to ping all of the servers, and let's see that. So now I could able to get the ping, but here I could not able to get the node 4. Maybe I have specified root node 4 here, so that's why I could not able to get the here. So maybe the username is wrong or something like that in the configuration file. Ansible host node. So here there is a node 4, this one. Now let's try to ping it, and node 3 is failed because fingerprint is not added to node here. So now I can just do SSH Ansible U1 at node 3, and it is already added. So that's it. So that's, let's see this how this Ansible Ad-Hoc commands. So basically if you want to execute any Ad-Hoc command, so where you can give this, use this Ansible syntax. So the Ansible syntax is command Ansible, then whether if you already specify the inventory file, like where you have already group defined or the server name is defined on the inventory file, so that you can call here whether you execute these other commands on group of servers, then you call it as a group, which group you wanted to execute, or if you want to execute the command only on particular server, you just call that server name. Then -m is for module. So there are thousands of module in this Ansible, so which module to use when, so you can refer the Ansible documentation for that. So there are so many modules. So when you wanted to use, example say that restart the service, you can use the service module, or maybe you can also just use the shell commands over there. So using the shell module, you can just execute the shell commands or shell scripts on the remote machine. So there are so many modules you can use it. So A as an arguments, like the module arguments, then U is user. Example say that I would like to execute this Ansible command on the remote machine using the particular user. So you can also specify that user by specifying -u username, and if you want to become that user, example say that I am going as a normal user, I want to become after logging into that server, become as a root user, then you can also do that become user, then specify that secret password after the become password. So or you can also specify -k for asking the password. Okay, here there are some options which will use mostly on the Ansible Ad-Hoc commands execution. One is called -B, which is called background wait. So whenever you are executing in a long running script, if you want to wait that script to be executed on the background, you just specify capital B to specify this many seconds it should wait on the background. Then -k. So -kb is useful whenever, example, say that you want to execute some commands on the remote server within a different user. So you did not specify any passwordless authentication. So then -k, if you specify, then it will ask you for the password. Okay, and capital T, so it waits for a timeout on the current shell itself. It's not the background, it's just a timeout. How many seconds you would like to wait and time out that command if it is not response. Okay, then -a, so we already know that arguments, and -b is for becoming the user, or become, you can also anything. So -i is an inventory file. So you, by default, if you do not provide any inventory file, so which uses by default /etc/ansible/host file, but if you have a particularly defined different inventory file, then you can also call that inventory file. From that, what is the group you want to call, you can also call that group name on the first itself. So -m is for module, so which module you would like to use, you can use it. But here there are some frequently used modules I will show you on this Ad-Hoc commands on the practical session. So -v is used for debugging the scripts. If you want to use -v small, then if any errors comes on execution, then if you use -vvv, then it will give you the complete debugging logs where actually the command is stuck and where it is failed. So that way you can debug your Ansible scripts or Ansible playbooks even using this vvv option. Okay, that's what about the syntax Ansible. So let's jump into the practical and see how it works. So here I am using Ansible master. So now let's example say here I would like to execute some commands. Okay, so Ansible, example say that Ansible, so we already configured some inventory already in yesterday. So let's say that servers is my group name. I would like to say that I would like to get the uptime of that servers, all the servers. What is the uptime of that server? So you just provide the command in the single quotation, then it will get the uptime of the each and every server. So we have 4 servers and those servers uptime is this one. So one server is in 47 minutes, almost they are started a similar time, so that's why it gives us the output as something like this. Okay, so it does do anything, says, so that's why it reports is that is doing some changed. So the command is executed and get the output over here. You can see that that's the output you get here. So like if you would like to execute any remote commands, you can also execute that. So I would like to execute maybe on the servers. I use the module called shell module. I will use it here. On the shell I run just like what is the SSHD status. Okay, so here what I'm doing here, it is that service httpd status. So what is, sorry, maybe I did not install httpd, so I use SSHD status. So which written is that non-written code, because which is not exactly the same, because the remote session should execute this way, systemctl status SSHD. So now you can see this, all the systems SSHD status over here. You can simply see that, right? So all of this. So likewise you can get the status, or if you want to restart, maybe if you want to restart the service from, we can also execute this from here as well. you can use the shell commands here from here. So maybe if you would like to get some all the servers output, like example say that I would like to get the df-h command. So what is the their disk all the mount points and their utilizations. If you'd like to get all of them in a single place, you can get that. So you can just execute the command and get the output over here. So this is pretty fast, and you can just go into the all of the servers and get the details over here, right? See this node 3, node 4, all of the servers, it went and get the df-h command output. So that's why you can use the command also to get the output from the remote machines, so quickly. So that's what the Ansible does. So then if you have some files, example say that after creating my all of the servers, I would like to copy the SSH files to the all of the remote machines. You can simply copy them using the Ansible servers. So that is my group. You can use the module called copy here, and maybe let's see this. Do I have any files here? Maybe I will create touch testing Ansible, something like this. Then I edit this one and say this is a testing copy file from Ansible master. Then save this file. So now I would like to copy this one to the remote machines. So how many machines are there? I would like to copy that to the destination. So here what you have to mention, that source, where is the source file is. So my source file is /root and the file name is testing Ansible is the file name. So I would like to copy to the destinations, all of the destinations here on the maybe I did not provide any that user, so that's why I say /home Ansible u1 is my destination. So this where it should copy the files. So the destination file may be also test Ansible, something like this. Okay, so my file is copying from this server to the all of the destination servers so quickly. So here I have to provide the module copy here. Okay, now let's execute. So what happened? It says changed, discovered, changed, unchanged, something like that. Then you can go ahead and see that if I go to here and Ansible u1, you can see that there is a file called testing. You can see that this is a testing copy from the Ansible master. You can go and all see that in all the nodes and cd/home Ansible u1 and see that. So that's why you can copy the file from one location to another location. Example say that if you want to insert some text onto the all of the machines, so that I would like to create a passwordless authentication from using these Ad-Hoc commands to the all of the servers in a single go. You can also copy some text using the text the file method. You can copy that text as a or if you would like to say that if you want to install some packages on the remote machine, then you can also use the m module -m module. This is the module m and -a. Then you can specify the details here. Example say that name, which package you would like to install on the remote machine. Okay, then that specify that particular package name here. Example, what the package I would like to take over here, it is that okay, I would like to install that wget package. So rpm wget package state equal to present. So whether the package is present or not. If it is not present, then it will install. If it is present, it just leaves it. From m and wget, so it says that it's already installed. So there is no, in the node 2 it's already installed, there is no action is required. So now it's going through all the machines and verifies that whether the package is already installed or not. So it is verifying that in all the nodes. Okay, so it's node 2, node 3, node 4 and master also. The wget package is already installed, so that's why, so it's not doing anything. So if you want to uninstall the package, then what you can do is that you can simply say that absent. So what it will do, it will uninstall the package from the remote servers. Let's say this. So m and I am checking that mget package, if it is present, then you should do an absent. So it says that node wget package has been removing from the node 3, node 4. So you can also see that it's also removed from the master. So now if I go ahead and see rpm-qa and grep for wget, so there is no package. Now I would install the packages back again. Let's see that. So and verify the package whether it is installed or not. See that now type the command and see that the package has been installed. So this way you can simply do a fast and really quick commands execution on the remote machines. So if you want example, say that if you want to create some users so quickly on the remote machines, you can also do that. So example, say Ansible and say my group name is servers -a. So we have to use the module called user and -a. So here which user you would like to create, the name of the user. Example, say that I would like to create Ravi is the username I would like to create, and password. The password should be an encrypted password. So maybe I use a plain password here. So do not recommend to use plain password anyway. You can use MD5 sum to get the encrypted version of the password and use that. So let's see this. So now not logging in password, so says that so the user has been created. If you go to the node 2, example, say here and say cat/etc/password file and grep for the Ravi user, so the user is exist. So that's why you can verify the status. So in similar way, if you would like to verify the services status on the remote machines, okay, and you can also use the name called service and say here, example, say which one I would like to see. SSHD is my service name, state. So if you'd like to see that what is already started service, so if it is in started, do nothing. So that's why it says that if it is already started, then it will not do anything. So you can see that the service status has been executed, something like this. So this way you can get the service status, or you can do a service restart, or you can also do a server restart, or you can also do some commands, execute some commands from here as well. So I would like to do some commands here, shell. So maybe I would like to do something like this, /sbin/service sshd status, and do a you can see that. So this is what it's written from the remote machine. So the remote machine services are running here, you can see that. So that way you can execute the Ad-Hoc commands so really and quickly to do something, but do not save for the later version. So that's what the Ad-Hoc commands do. See this. So first of all, So what is this YAML? Yet another markup language. Example say that if you have an HTML, so hypertext markup language, in similar way, so all playbooks are written in a YAML, yet another markup language. So this language is very simple and a human readable format, so where it is very easy to write the playbooks and you can do a number of programming, like number of lines of code you can write in these playbooks. So it's very easy to do it, but there is only one thing you have to concern about the whenever you are writing the playbook is that whatever the code you are writing, it should be in a rightly aligned. So if you do that, like, then the playbook plays a very good simple and very good option for you. But if you misplace the alignment of the playbook, then the play is going to be gives an error saying that there is something error on the line number 1, line number 2, something like that. So but I will show you that how you will align the playbook and what is the method you have to use here. So the first of all, the playbook starts with 3 hyphens, hyphen comments. So if you want to write any comments in between of the playbooks, like just like this is what the notes in between the playbook, you can just start the line with the hash, then write the content, so that is in a comment, so it does not execute on the playbook. So members of list, example say that if you want to make a list on the playbook, then you can start that with the hyphen. Okay, so hyphen fruits, then under that you can write that banana, like tomato, whatever it is, right? So just like in a list. But playbooks, whenever the playbook is ends, is a dot. So this begin with hyphen or ending with a dot, that does not matter for the playbook. If you do not write hyphen or dot at the end, the playbook will execute fine. But as if you want to make a professional playbooks, or if you want to become a professional on the playbooks, so make use of good habits whenever you are writing the playbooks. So key value pairs, so this key value pair, like just start then a key and its value separated by the colon. Okay, so do not forget the colon in between, so that if you forget that, then it's not a key value pair, so it may be end up with the errors. Okay, do not forget about this. And there is in the playbook there is a called a list, and there is called as a dictionary, so we can make use of them. So let's see that, and here is some example I'm going to show you. This is what the example is. So here is the example how we can write the playbook here. So the playbook starts with 3 hyphen signs and specify where you want to execute these tasks. Example say that if you want to execute on all of the host, or the few of the host, or few of the group servers, or only in one server, so what you want to specify, you can specify over there, or you can also specify out of the playbook. So in general you can write the playbook, then after that also you can specify the inventory file and the group whenever you are executing the playbook. Okay, or you can also specify in the playbook itself, so that it makes. So the playbook is combination of plays and tasks. So the play can have number of tasks. Okay, the playbook will have number of plays. In the sense, so in this example here, I have single play and multiple tasks. So that way you can make a multiple task in a single play. So the single play have a name like this is what the play, and task has a different tasks. So it's a combination of playbook. So here, if you want to write these playbooks here, you can just specify that the alignment should be perfect. So whenever you are writing here it should be in a 4 spaces starting from here to here. So there is a 4 spaces when you would like to specify this like this tasks colon, then after that from here to here there is a 4 space, 1 2 3 4. So here there is a 4 spaces should be there, so you should remember always that one, so that your place works perfectly fine. And whenever you also have this one from here to here, you have to have the 4 spaces. Okay, so do not forget about that one, then your place will be perfect. So example here I have given some example, right, how we can write this place here. In a few rules you need to follow is when you want to include a colon in statement, you have to enable quotations. Statement, you have to enable the quotations from start to ending shown as example here. So this is what you have to do it. So example say that if you want to write the quotation here, example say hyphen name, so there is no space, which is not correct. Hyphen space name, which is correct, and immediately you have to provide the colon here, then there is a space. After that you have to add the quotation marks, in that you have to write the statement. Okay, then you can still write the path as like this. So if you want to specify some paths, you can specify, example say that C Windows, I would like to say I want to copy some data over there, I want to specify the path, you can also do this way, Windows path. Okay, tell further on writing Ansible variables, and this is the next class we are going to see that Ansible variables, but here I would like to say how you can write the variables and not to write this way. Okay, so this is what you have to write the variable content, okay, not this way. So remember these rules whenever you are writing the playbooks, it's very important. So if you practice these playbooks writing, then you will understand that how carefully you have to write whenever you're writing the playbook. So what is the alignment you have to follow. Okay, let's see on the practical. We will write a simple playbook and execute it, how it works. So this is our Ansible master, here is our Ansible playbook is. Then what I'm going to do here, it is that I'm going to say that mkdir /playbooks. So now, and I just go into the playbooks /playbooks. So here I'm just going to write a simple playbook called ping test. Okay, let's I'm just using a VI editor. You may use any of the editor like Nano editor or whatever the editor you would like to. If you want to write on the Windows, you can use the Notepad++, or you can also use any of the editors, text editors which you like it, maybe Lime editor or otherwise anything. Okay, but here I'm using a name VIM. So let's say that ping test.yml. So you can also use any extension here that is called YML or YAML. So anything you can use, I am using. So as starts the playbook --, and start the name, I would like to say here the name is going to be a fast playbook ping test. Okay, so I would like to say that fast playbook ping test here. So here I am going to say that specify the host where I would like to execute on all of the servers, as I know that I already have this group on our configuration, Ansible configuration file. So I am not using any extra inventory files here. So I am going to specify the tasks here. So the tasks, say the task name is ping test, and ping is my command. So I would like to go and each and every server ping the server and come back to me, give the ping result here. So that's what the playbook is. And if you want to end the playbook with ending, then you have to use ... So this is what the playbook is completed. A simple playbook which executes the ping command on all of the servers and get back the result for us. So this is what the play. Let's execute the play with Ansible Playbook and specify the playbook file name. Let's see this, how this playbook works. So now I'm just executing here our first playbook. So our playbook got executed successfully. Is there anything is changed? Do I really do anything here? So no, I did not do anything on here. So first of all, it goes and gather the facts of the each and every server. So because I did not say gather the fact is equal to no, then on the playbook, so it gathers the details of the host and it pings the test. So it pings all of the servers and says all of the servers are okay. So then it did do anything changes? No, there is no change on any of the servers because I did not specify the playbook to change anything here. So that's what the first play is. Example say here, I would like to give you a simple example here how the playbooks can give you an errors. Example say here, while I am writing this play, so I'm just misaligning the playbook by giving a space. So okay, now I would like to execute this Ansible Playbook and ping test. So it says that the syntax error loading in a YAML mapping values are not allowed. So this is so and so error, something like this, and it's going to give you an error saying that here is what you have did the mistake. So this is how you will get the playbook error whenever you misalign the playbook. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to align this playbook correctly and try to execute it again. Okay, Ansible Playbook and ping test. Okay, do remember, don't panic. Okay, if you get an error, just look at the error message what it is saying and correct the alignment. Your play is going to play. Don't worry about it. See that how we can write the variables and what are the variables over here. So Ansible variables, variable names should be letters or numbers and underscores. So here as it has a, like in different languages, example in shell scripting also we use the variables, it also should start with the letter or the number or underscore anything. So but there are some criteria where you should not use the variable, something like that is an example here. Should always start with the letter. So not valid variable examples here. So which are the variables which are not valid? Example say that Ravi-Kumar, which is not a valid example for the variables, and text space Arkit, so which is not a valid one. 21 example say which is not a valid variable. So you should not use something like this, but the variable should start with the letter and it should not have hyphen, something like that. You should use underscore, so there is no space. That variable should not start with the number. So in inventory files, if you want to use a variables, how we can use that, here is an example. So if you have this all common features for the web servers, example say you can also use variables in inventory files. So here I have a web servers, node 1, node 2, node 3 here. For these all three there are common variables. So the connection is used to SSH and the user, I'm going to username root. So if you write this, you don't need to write the configuration all the way long on the here. So you can specify something like this. This also works for the, this is all the variables are applicable to the web servers. So let's see some practical how the variable you can write in the playbooks and how you can execute them. So example, here I'm in a control node where Ansible master. So example, here I'm just going to see that SC Linux. So here I have written some playbook, so that called SC Linux enabled or disabled. Example, say that enable or disable, how you want. So if you want to disable, you can disable it, or if you want to enable, you can enable it. So here example I'm saying here it is that so instead of disabling here, I'm changing SE Linux from config file. So I'm going to change the SE Linux configuration file, so where the status is equal to disable. So here instead of writing directly over here, I'm just calling the regular expression. So what I'm saying that regular expression SE Linux, where it is says here the status. So I specified the status as a variable here. So the variable vars, so variable, and this status variable I'm calling over here. So if you say here which is enforcing, so it will enforcing will be replaced here, or if it is a disabled, then it will be disabled. So let's see that example. Say we will connect to the nodes. So let's see what is the configuration here, /etc SE Linux and config file. So this has enforcing here. Okay, if I want to change this as a disabled, example, go and see in the node 3. So how it is. So here it also enforcing, and in node 4 also is it's same. Okay, because I did not disable any SE Linux here. So you can see that all the nodes has a similar configuration. So I'm just executing this playbook against all of these nodes, and the configuration is going to be changed as a disabled. So now let's see here, and now Ansible Playbook. See this, you can see that node 2 has been changed one. So if I execute the same command, let's go ahead and see here what is the change. So which is disabled. The before state was enforcing, now it was disabled. So if I execute the same again, so it won't do any changes, because the Ansible Playbook is not changed the configuration if it's already changed. So that's what it says, that is already okay, so there is no skip, so configuration is fine. So like this, if you can use the variable something like this, but in case if I wanted to enable again, so I have to come back and edit the playbook and write is enforcing something like that. So okay, so I don't want to do something like this. Okay, so I wanted to use this variable in a different method. Okay, so where I'm going to call here in place of playbook -e status equal to enforcing. So what happened here, it is that instead of calling in the playbook itself the variable, I'm calling the variable value over here. So which means that the playbook can be used in a simple way, that I can modify as a disabled, and I can modify as an enforcing. So here now I changed it as enforcing. Now you can see this, it's changed, and if we can go back and see this, the configuration has been changed to enforcing. So this way the variable can also be called on the here, so which you can use -e here, likewise, and the variable name and the value of the variable you can pass it over here as well. So how you have to specify the variable within the curly braces. Okay, so you have to single quote total line, not this only curly braces. Okay, so remember that. So here if you have any no space, something like that, you will get an error. Okay, so let's do one example here on the host. Okay, host inventory file, how you can do modify here. So example, say here I have the common names, Ansible connection SSH, Ansible user is root. Okay, so I would like to specify these values, okay, here on the variables. Okay, so here I'm going to use this servers, and I'm calling this as a variables here. Ansible, sorry, it's a server group. Now I'm just going to specify one more called servers and variables here. So here what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to call this variable here and this variable here. So, and I am going to delete these variables. So this is how we can specify the common details. If you have already common details in between those servers, the common is that they all the servers are using the SSH connection, and all the servers uses the root user. So that's why I can able to make this change on the variable. So the most of the times where you should use the variables. So if you are using the variable in a top level, you specify as a variable, then you should be able to use the variable same string into the multiple times, so that will be very useful whenever using the variable. But if you are using in a single line, example, say here for this, if I specify the status variable over here and specify the status as disable or enforcing, that may not make sense, because instead of writing in a single line over here, so the single disabled CSC line is equal to disabled over here, but I'm going to specify the var. So that most of the times does not make sense. But if you want to use in a professional way, or if you want to make it easy for next time, if you want to edit this playbook, that would be easy. But most of the times if you want to use a same variable, call it as in a multiple times on the playbook, if you specify that variable, that would be more useful and it worthy. Otherwise you can also use something like this and call the variable value on the playbook also. So that's going to be a very useful stuff. So I'm just going to into playbooks here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to say start and stop services. I just I'm going to specify something like this here. So what I'm going to do in this playbook is that if the name is matching to the exact what I'm saying, and restart one service. If it is not matching, then restart other service. So how it is then? So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to specify the name here. So the name, maybe I can put anything, start and stop services. Okay, so here I'm just going to specify the host here. Host, maybe our group is server, and say tasks. So I'm going to specify the task over here. The task name I'm just going to use is service. So service module I'm calling here. The service name, so I'm just using is service name Postgres SQL, and state I'm saying is started. So start the service when Ansible host matches this name. So what is the name? I'm just going to specify here. That is called node 5.tech arkit.local. So there is no such a host actually in our inventory, but I'm just writing something like this. So what it will do here, it is that it's going to get the service name if it is matches node 5. So there is no node 5, so that play is going to not execute. Okay, so here I'm just going to call one more service. So here name equal to sshd, I call sshd service name, and state equal to restarted. So I'm going to restart the service on the remote host. Okay, so when the Ansible host equal to, so I have the node 2, right? Node 2 dot tech arkit dot local. So this play is going to execute exactly. So first one is going to be not do anything because there is no node 5. Then the next one is going to restart the service if there is a node 2. So now in the playbook with 3 dots and save it, and Ansible playbook called start and stop service, and let's execute and see that how it works. So now it's going to gather the facts, master node. So you can see that, so the node 2 failed, the change false value state must be reloaded or restarted. So maybe I put something different on the playbook. Restarted, that's what I put, right? Maybe I can put started. Okay, otherwise okay, so the play, you can see that there is no node 5, that's why the play is not played, but the next one is played. So let's see that. So it's going to execute. So node 1, node 2, node 3, node 4, so all are says okay, because the condition which is I said is that the node 2 whether it is started or not. So it got executed and verified that the service is says node 2 is started. So remaining host which is skipping because I did not specify the condition over there that this node go and check it up. Okay, so that's why you can use the condition. Let's see some loops example here, how we can write the loop on the Ansible playbook. So here I'm just going to use the M module to install multiple packages running on the loop. So how we can do that? So I'm just going to say loops.yml, and I'm just going to start my playbook. Here I say the name is install multiple packages, and say the host is going to run on node 2, and say specify the tasks is that. Here I'm just going to specify the task name is install packages, and the module I'm going to use is M, and the name I'm going to specify here, it is that item, that is called as a loop variable name I'm specifying here, and the state is going to be in the latest. So install the latest version of the package. So I'm just going to say items. So here in these items I'm just going to specify what are the packages it should install. So I'm just going to say install make, and install gcc, and install httpd, and install wget. So these are the packages I'm just wanted to install on that particular node 2. So here is the playbook ends. So what I'm doing on here it is that I'm going to specify the package name as an item, and I'm going to specify the item names over here. So these are the items which are going in loop and runs, and one will go and over here and execute it and install it, and second will go over here and install it, and third it goes. So keep on, it loops all of these packages and install the packages as per the playbook. So let's run the loop and verify here the playbook. I'm just going to execute the loops here. So it says that loops, it says that the new version of the Ansible 2.8.5 is that deprecation warning invoking in a loop is not specify anywhere here on the loop, so which is suggesting us to do something like this. Please use name, and in a bracket you have to specify the package's name, something like this. So and remove the loop. This feature will remove in 2.11 deprecation warnings can be disabled settings, deprecation warning false. So if you make this deprecation warning equal to false, then you will see that you will not see any warning, something like this. So this looping is not deprecated in this version, but it says that it's going to be removed on 2.11 version. So that's why avoid using the loops, it was saying. So it was not exactly saying avoid loops, but use the loop something like this. It's a different parameter. So that's what. So now you can see that it's okay, and node 2 and change it 1, and you can see that the node 2 was okay and the packages got installed. So instead of using with items, you can also use something like this. That's about the conditional variables and loop. See this. So what is lamp? So lamp is L in the sense a Linux operating system, A in the sense Apache web server. So you can install the Apache web server there, and MariaDB. MariaDB or MySQL, anything you can use. So basically a MariaDB is the database, or the MySQL is also a database, but in an older version like RHCL or CentOS 5 or 6, we have a MySQL database, but upon the RHCL 7 or the CentOS 7 and CentOS 8, the MySQL is modified as MariaDB. So and PHP, so we are going to install the PHP, and we are going to deploy a PHP application which is written in the PHP. So that's about the this one. And let's see this, what is the steps are involved on the Ansible playbook. So first of all, what we use here, typically we are not using any root user here. So we are using a local user account, which is a normal user account which has sudo privileges. Okay, then install an Apache web server using that user, and we are going to do installing the Apache on the remote system, and we are going to start and enable the services on the remote system, and install PHP and MariaDB server and connectors, the MariaDB connectors we are going to install in the remote system, and create database, and database called, the name is inventory, and we are going to create the table on that database called servers with the 6 columns, which has a serial name, server name, IP address, environment, whether it is in a production or development environment or whatever it is, the location where exactly the server is located, and the remarks. Example, so what describes the server is about, and deploy that PHP application, and whenever you click on browse that PHP app, so you should get that result on the web page. So that's about this Ansible playbook agenda. Let's dive into the demonstration or the practical. Let's see how we can write this playbook and deploy the application. So now I'm into Ansible master. So here I'm just going to open the Ansible playbook writing. So basically for this series I'm just going to create all of the playbooks in this playbooks area. So now I'm just going to say enable the deploy lamp dot yml. Okay, so here I'm just going to start the Ansible playbook with these 3 dashes, and I'm going to name this as deploying lamp stack using Ansible. Anyway, it's going to be Ansible, no need to mention specifically. So I'm just going to specify the host. So maybe I can see node 2 I'm going to select here, and the remote user. So the remote user should exist on the remote server, otherwise it won't work. Okay, so and I'm just going to say become yes. So become yes in the sense it's going to become a root whenever it is installing something. So I'm just going to specify the tasks here. The tasks are going to be the first step is installing the Apache server, so or the web server I can say. Okay, and here I'm just going to use the M module, and I'm going to name that package name is httpd, and state I'm just going to define as a latest package. So it should install the latest package here. So I'm going to define one more play. So this is going to be an installing the MariaDB package, installing MariaDB server. Okay, so I'm going to install this. Again I'm going to use the M, but here basically I have multiple packages to install. So that's why what I'm going to do here is that I'm just going to name the packages in this way. So I'm not going to write any loop here because the loop is going to be deprecated in the next version. So that's why I'm just going to name the as an in a lines so that it's going to install. So MariaDB, sorry, all small letters, server, and I'm going to write the MariaDB devil, so the development package, and MariaDB connector ODBC. So I'm just going to use a ODBC connector to connect the MariaDB, and I'm just going to install the server utils which is required for the server utilities to be installed. So there is a spelling mistake, remember, so you should not make any spelling mistakes, otherwise it says the package is not found on the server RDM. So I'm going to use the Python 3 MySQL package, which is going to useful for me to connect and create the database via Ansible, because the Ansible is written in the Python. So the state is latest versions, all of install the latest version here. Okay, so I'm going to specify one more thing is that here after installing this I'm just going to say start the services. Okay, so say start MariaDB server service. Okay, so here I'm just going to use the service module, so which says name equal to MariaDB, the service name is MariaDB, and state would be an started. So it's going to start the MariaDB service, and I'm going to name the thing here. It is that after installing and configuring the MariaDB, starting the service, we are going to create the database. So here maybe I can say that enable MariaDB server service. So I'm just going to enable the service because whenever the server is restarted, it should not stop. So whenever the server has been rebooted, it will automatically start the service. Okay, so I'm not specifying anything here. Let's okay, let's play different things here. So okay, so I'm just going to say that after this service has been started, I'm just going to run on a secure environment and update the password of the root. So I say update MariaDB server root password. So basically I'm going to use a default user called root here. So I'm going to use the MySQL. So MySQL and MariaDB is same, so similar, almost similar. So just there are only a few changes happened after the same MySQL fork has been modified by Oracle. So that's why there's no change in the MySQL. So most of the times the MariaDB MySQL queries will work on the way on this. So I'm just going to name the user as root, okay, and the host. So I'm going to use this local host. So local host in the sense not this local host, that local host. We can specify this way, node 3, okay, and password. What is the password I would like to use over here? Maybe a simple MySQL I say here, okay, and the login underscore user, so which is going to be a again root user, and check underscore implicit, okay. So this is admin is yes or no. So we are first time we are going to enable this one, and the privileges, I load all these privileges first of all, flush and refresh it so that it will grant all the privileges. So we require all privileges to maintain that database, okay. So the next one here, I'm just going to specify. So now what we did is that we have installed the packages of Apache, we have installed the MariaDB packages, and we have started the MariaDB server, and we did not started the Apache service yet, because first of all we are starting the MariaDB services and database services, and we are going to create some databases here, okay. Then only we are going to start the Apache server later, okay. So create a new database called inventory. So here I'm just going to create a new database called inventory. Here also I'm just going to use MySQL DB module. So the name I'm just going to specify here, it is that inventory, and state equal to present. So because I'm just going to create it, and login user, which is going to be in a root, login password. So while recording, so because this is not recommended to provide the password over here, but for this demonstration I'm just writing the password here, okay. So instead of these passwords, most of the times we have to use the secure the password and to use the encryption key, so that's the way it should, your password would be secure. But for this demonstration I'm just going to use it, okay. And copy the SQL file. Basically this SQL file has a query to create the database and tables and insert some data in it, okay. So and I'm just going to say using the copy module, and I say source, which is going to be in a slash source slash specify the file name. Maybe I say servers.sql is the file name which I'm going to use, and destination, so which I'm going to deploy that file into the temporary servers.sql, okay. So this is the way I'm just going to use this copy method, okay. And now after that copying that, we are just going to dump that SQL file into the MySQL. So create create table with data. So we are going to create the table called servers with some data. So we are going to insert some data in it. So okay, so let's see. I'm just going to use here a simple shell module. I'm not using any MySQL module here. A simple shell module which will dump the SQL dump into the MySQL. So MySQL -u, I'm just going to use the root user, and I'm going to use the password and say /tmp/servers.sql. so this way which is going to dump this database. So we have to specify the database here and dump this and create the database. So what is there in that SQL, I just show you after this playbooks completes. Okay, so now we have created the database and we have copied the SQL file and we dump that SQL data into the database with the table creation and create some data. And now I'm just going to use this copy PHP files. So I'm just going to copy the files which are there in the source, so which is a code deployment. So this is the code where my code is available. So here I'm just going to use the source again in /source/ this is a connection.php file which is used to connect to the my MariaDB database, and destination is going to be /was/www.html, which is the default web root. So I'm just going to use it here, and again I'm just going to copy one more copy index.php file. Okay, and I'm just going to use again the source here, which is source/index.php file, and the destination is going to be /var/www.html. So this is the way I'm just going to copy both the files, okay, index and as well as the connection PHP file. Now I'm going to restart the web services here. Okay, in the last I can use handlers here, but I'm not using any handlers, just I'm invoking the service module. I'm just going to use the service module and say name equal to httpd, and state is going to be restarted. Maybe I can start this service before and restart here. That may help us to create the root. Okay, so maybe I can say y to y and paste it here. And say restart Apache, or not restart, it's a start Apache server service. So here I'm just going to use service module and say name equal to httpd, and state is going to be started. So this way the playbook is complete. So I'm going to explain you the playbook again here. So first of all, we are going to use the node2 here, and the local user Ansible 1, and it's become a sudo user whenever it's installing, and the tasks are going to be defined here in this way, like installing the Apache server and start the services, and install the MariaDB packages, required dependencies, and here I'm just going to start the service here and updating the MariaDB server with the root password, securing the environment. Okay, after that I'm just going to create the database called inventory. So in this, and I'm just going to create the copy the SQL file which contains the query to create the table and insert the data in it, and copy the PHP files which contains the connect to the MariaDB database and query the result from the index.php file. And after that I'm just going to restart the web service afterwards, and we are going to browse this application from the browser and see that whether it's working fine as expected. Okay, that's about the playbook. But after that, so we have to create the /source directory and enter into this source here, and I'm just going to create the servers.sql file. So this SQL file I have already prepared. This contains the data to create, how to create your MySQL database, table, and insert some data in it. So this is the query here, so which contains the information like this. Table is going to be create the servers and all of this stuff here. Okay, now I'm just going to save this one, and I'm just going to create one more called connections.php. So in this I'm just going to paste my PHP configuration, the PHP code here. So I have the PHP code is this way. So here I'm just going to change my details. So I missed out single code here. The username is root and the password while creating what we have used, and the database name. Okay, so this way we have done our PHP file creation. Now I'm going to create one more PHP file called php index.php, and I'm just going to copy that PHP details, that content over here, the code. So this is my code. So anyway, this code is available in my Git repository, don't worry about it. So that's it. So I have Ansible Playbook ready, and this is my Ansible Playbook, and my node is ready, and I have my source files already created over there, and I'm just going to check this Ansible Playbook and say deploy lamp syntax check. So before running this Ansible playbook, I'm just going to verify that syntax does it have any okay, which has something error in it. So just wait, maybe some space is missed. Where it is missed exactly, creating the new database called inventory. So go over here and see this alignment maybe changes some way. That's it, I think so. We have to change all of them. So this way, if you miss any alignment, and verify the syntax before executing the playbook, so that it let you know that whether the playbook is correct or not. Okay, so seems to be good. We do not have any errors. Okay, now let's run the Ansible playbook. Okay, and deploy the lamp stack. So before that, I'm just going to show you that the node 2. So here with the systemctl status httpd, do I have any service? No, any service is not deployed, the service is not started yet. Okay, and let's see whether do I have anything here. No, nothing. Okay, and verify that whether I have MariaDB here. No, MariaDB is not for. So now I'm just going to see IP address and verify this server whether sorry. So this and go in the browser and verify that do I have anything. So there is no server. I am not getting any response from here. Okay, let's see this. No response, right? So now let's run the playbook and see this how the application is going to work. Run the playbook. Okay, so there is a spelling mistake in this. This is not connector, this is connector. Okay, so this way sometimes it gives you the errors. Let's see this how it works. Okay, installing MariaDB server services. Okay, so let's see this how it works. So the MariaDB is changed. You can see this error comes whenever you have the MariaDB is not set up any password on the remote host, like which the MariaDB already have installed, but whenever you restart it, that it does not have any password to access the database. So by default it's a null database, null password. So that's we have to set it up from the playbook. So that step we have to add a little my.conf. We have to copy to the exact location, so the password would be set perfectly. So now we can see that the playbook is run successfully. So our application has been deployed on the server. So let's go here on the refresh this page, whether we are getting that page or not. So maybe we will get, sometimes we may not, because if it is firewall is switched on, then we may not get it. So we have to set that firewall and SE Linux to info switch off. So which do not have any entry here. The firewall is running, but we do not have any rule here. So in playbook we have to add that role, that the thing is that we have to switch on the rules, like we have to input this, allow the HTTP protocol. So for now I am just going to stop this and SE Linux, verify that SE Linux is also enforcing, so that set enforce 0. So now go to the browser and see whether our application is working. You can see this, here is our application, so which is working fine. I can able to query the database successfully, and I can able to see the records over here. So this is how the my application works fine. So I have successfully installed the Apache and MariaDB and PHP, and generated the my MariaDB's password and created the database and tables and all of this, and deployed the application with the Ansible Playbook. So tags are basically useful whenever you have a large playbooks. Example, say as per previous deployment of the LAMP stack. So this is a little larger playbook. Okay, so here we have so many tasks, and in this task, if you want to example, say that I wanted to split these tasks into the multiple stuff, like example, I wanted to run certain times only few, not all, but whenever you run the playbook, what happens, it will execute all the steps in that, so all the tasks in the playbook. But I don't want to run all of them, so I want to run only few of them whenever I want to run after. But I want to run the playbook, but I want to execute only few of them. That in the tasks I want to run only few. Then how you can define that? So here what you can simply do is that okay, so here you can specify tags and say I want to run the tag example. So here I am tagging this as install Apache. So this is a one tag. Like this I'm going to tag all of these tags. So here, so what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to tag all of them tags, and I'm going to specify the tag name here, so which is start Apache. So like this, so we can tag all of them. Example, the installation. So installation, here it is that install MariaDB, and here this is the one more tags, and I'm just going to tag this one as start MariaDB. We can also group this into the same tag, like if you want to tag all of them as like install or start, something like that, so you can do them as a grouping. So this one is like configuring the tags, and say configure database, configure DB, simple way. Okay, like this you can also tag this one here, so which is tags. I say this tag is going to be create database. So the database only created once, so create DB, and copy the files tags, and I say copy file. So this one also is dumping the data tags, dump data, and this is also I'm grouping the tags. Okay, this is like copy file. So here also one copy file, here also one copy file. Whenever I call this this tag, so this will also execute. This is called as a grouping the tags. So here I'm going to tag this one also as a copy file, because this is also a copy. And here so I have already one tag called start Apache, right? So here I'm just going to do one more tag called restart Apache. So these are the tags. So I have mentioned all of the tags on this playbook. So out of this, if I want to only execute few of them, then I can call those tags and execute it here. So how we can execute it here? So Ansible Playbook and deploy the lamp -- syntax check. First of all, I have to check the syntax whether the playbook has correct or not. Maybe it has any errors, no errors. So here what we have to do, -- So we have to specify the tags. So I wanted to run only one tag or a few tags. So how we can run those tags? So this is how we can specify the tags and specify the name. So here I'm just going to specify restart Apache. So out of this playbook, this many tasks is going to execute only this particular tag. So that's the beauty of the tags. So you can see this. So see this, restart web service. It's only done that particular task. So that particular tag executed only that particular tag. If you want to, example, say that if you want to run multiple here, so say start Apache comma, and you can put this one more. So I want to run these two tags. So this time it's going to execute start Apache and restart web service. So both do the same, but first one tag is already started, so that's why it shows on a green, and here this one is anyway it restarts, so that's why it restarted the service. So there is only the change is one, and the tags are two tags are executed like this. If you want to play the tags example here, so that would be very useful. Again, in this the tags are different ways. So one time sometimes if you want to do, if I want to I don't want to skip something like this, example say I don't want to skip restart Apache, always I wanted to restart this one. So simply you can specify here always. So if you do a skip or if you do anything, the tag will be executed. So this particular tag will be executed always. So that's the fun of it. So what I'm doing here, it is that I'm just going to execute the few tags. One is called start MariaDB. Okay, so here in the tags, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say start MariaDB. So I'm not executing any restart Apache here or the restart service. So but it will execute here because I specified restart always. See this. So I did not specify the tag, but it is executed. So that is a special tag in the Ansible. Whenever you specify the tag as always, then if you specify or if you skip, that particular tag will be executed always. Okay, so that way you can do a tags, and in the large playbook, after that if you want to execute only few of them, then you can execute those tags particularly by specifying the tags here on the Ansible playbook. So okay, so large playbooks are split into multiple files. Roles are a way to group multiple different tasks, like are the complex tasks. Example, say if you want to deploy a web server in a multiple distributions, example in Red Hat and CentOS and Ubuntu and SUSE Linux, then if you want to deploy in multiple distributions of with the same web service, but they have a different commands together, they have different configuration files, they have different locations on the configuration part. So if you want to do that, then if you are writing the playbook, which is going to be a very complex, but instead you can write a multiple complexity on the roles and call those on the playbook, so are the on the role. So that way the complex things is going to be easy. So the whenever you split the playbook into multiple pieces, so that makes easy to write the code like a few lines only instead of writing the multiple lines like that. So reuse of playbook code is easy, like whenever you want to use the same code of that role to deploy something, or if you want to modify the same thing, you can simply use or simply modify that. Roles are major things on the Ansible, so which play major role on the Ansible. Roles have structured layout. So how it has, they have a structured layout in that we have to place the things here. So whenever you create any role, example, here I have created the role called Apache. So in this, which has a default structure, the directory structure. So the defaults, in the sense, the default variable for the role files contains files to copy to destination. So the files directory contains the files, example, the configuration files, or if you want to deploy some app files, or many more files if you want to copy from here to destination or on the remote client. So wherever the Ansible node is there, so that's why you can drop all the files into this files directory. Handlers, so based on notify, do something specified. So whenever you have in the playbook, what we do, some notify and write some subject. The same subject, if you call on the handler, do something like, example, say after deploying the new application or the new files on the web server or the Apache server, I want to restart or the reload the service. So that's what the handlers do. So metadata about current role. So metadata in the sense, like just like write the details about this playbook, what this playbook do, and which Ansible version it works, and who is the author, and what it does, so and so details you can write in the metadata. So and tasks, so this is the main task list where you write all the tasks in the task directory in the main.yml, or you can also create new YAML files and call that YAML files on the main.yml. So that way also the task can be executed. Template files to deploy. Examples, template files are also similar to the files, but the templates has a different meaning, like Jinja 2 templates has a different lines in the configuration. So those also you can use to deploy on the remote system, like whenever you have a configuration file, right? The same configuration file may not be work for multiple systems. So in case if you create a Jinja template, the maybe same configuration file can be deployed into the multiple systems. Okay, and test is the directory where you can specify the some inventory data, as well as the using this role test. So if you want to do some verification on the role, like how the role is running, then you can use this test to test it. And where's is the directory. So variables, other variables you can write it, other variables also you can write it. Defaults and varies are similar to it, but the defaults are the default variable for the role, and variables are the specified variables. So where you can specify the variables over here. Let's see some practical how we can create the Ansible roles, and how we can split these playbooks, or how we can make this easier to install. So what I'm going to do is that I'm simply going to install a web server on the remote node using this roles. Okay, so let's jump into the /etc Ansible. So there is a default roles. So whenever you called Ansible Galaxy to do that, so it will automatically create the role over here. So if you want to create the Ansible directory structure, so what you can do is that simply Ansible Galaxy. Okay, and here you can initialize the role directory structure, clean directory structure, using the init, so which is called initialization. And here you can specify the name. So I can specify, I could say that maybe I will say web server. Okay, -offline, because why I specify offline here, like if we specify any web server or do an install or something like that, so that the Galaxy will copy the existing role from the Galaxy website, like the galaxy.ansible.com. so that's why I don't want to do any copy or the existing role. So I want to create a clean fresh Galaxy installation. So role installation. So this is where Galaxy has been, the Galaxy created the clean directory structure here. So this is the directory structure. Simply what we have to do is that we have to split the playbooks into the variables into variables, and tasks into task directory, and files into files directory, something like that. So that way which will install, or which you can call the playbook, and do the stuff. Okay, example in simple terms. So what I am going to do is that playbooks, and go to see this deploy lab stack here. So this is the playbook I have here. So here what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to install the Apache server, right? So what I'm going to do, simply just copy here this line and this line. Okay, so what it will do, copy this and restart this, right? So instead of this restart here, so you can also call something like this one, and do the same task split into multiple, you can install here and restart the using the handler, but I'm not doing this. So here what you can do, and edit this and go to etc, sorry, web server directory, and etc here, sorry, tasks directory here, and main.yml. So here what you can do, simply copy that tasks here. So what is the tasks? What you have, install Apache and latest one, and install Apache, start the Apache server. Okay, after that what you want, so you want to copy the directories and do something stuff here, install and restart. I don't want to install the MariaDB again, so I'm just doing this stuff, only deploy the files over there. So after that, create directory is not required, copying SQL files is not required, this is not required, copy PHP files or the index.php file, so this is not required. Maybe I will create a new file, html things. Okay, so this is the one, and nothing much, just keep this one again, this task, and restart, right? This is the task again, so I'm going to do it here, right? So the alignment should be fine, otherwise it won't work. Okay, so this is what the simple playbook is. Okay, to install and do the stuff, right? So this is the way actually. So just do an alignment, let's do it. Do not do any tab here, because the tab won't work. So okay, so here no need to specify any source, something like this. So simply specify index.php, okay, or maybe I can say index.html. So this is a simple playbook, so nothing much complex here. This is very simple playbook, and install the Apache here, and state is started. After that, not okay, started, and after that copy the index file and do the, after copying the file, restart it. Okay, now you can go ahead and do a web server, and here if you have go to files directory and create that index.html file. So what I'm going to do is that here I simply write a h1 tag here and say welcome to tech Arkit Ansible tutorial and close this h1 tag. That's it, not much. So simple HTML file. And here if you go to the meta directory, this meta directory has main.yml file. So in this you can write this details, so all the details you can write it over here. So what you want to write here, so simply example say that what is your name. So okay, you can write your name here. So what is this Ansible role description? Install web server in CentOS 8 or RHCE 8. So this way you can simply specify what is your company name, something like that, or original. So many details you can write it, what version it will work, and all the details you can write it over here. So which version, Ansible version you would like to currently which is using, so Ansible 10 or Ansible 11. Okay, and what is the all the details. So here you can write the details, or you can also specify the tags if you have any dependencies on this. This is very simple way I'm just defining it. Sorry. Okay, simple way I'm just defining the meta details over here. Okay, and if you want to specify some template files, or the test or variables, or so these handlers I do not have any for now. Or maybe we can also edit these tasks directly in that main.yml. You can specify here, maybe this can be handled like here. What I'm doing, notify -restart web. Okay, so here after notifying I would like to do on a this can be handled by the handler. So now handlers directory and main.yml here, and what you can do is that simply the name should match. So whatever the name we have provided there, you have to provide this here, restart web, and what you have to do, you have to do the restarting. So here you can use service module httpd state restarted. So let me check again, tasks main.yml. Sorry, how to specify this way, service colon and the name equal to httpd state is restarted. So restart web is the restart web is the name. So from here you can remove from here actually. So after copy, say notify, so restart web, and after notifying, what it's going to do, it's going to restart it. So I'm not going to use any tags here. You can use tags or not use the tags anyway. So this is the simple playbook. So what it's do, it will install the Apache web server and start the web service. After that, copy the index.html file to destination and notify to restart the web server, and it will restart it. So now what you have to do, go back to here and create any YML file with to call the role. So simple, what I am going to do is that site web server .yml. So I'm just going to use the same one and say web server deploy. So here I'm just call host, and example say I would like to take node 3 here, or maybe you can take node 4 here, and say roles and web server. The role name you have to call it here. So if you have multiple roles, example if you want to deploy the same web server into the multiple things, or if you want to deploy example different roles on the like example FTP server or NTP server or maybe a NFS server. So if you create this different roles, if you want to call that roles here, you can simply call role hyphen the role name, so which will do the job. So before executing, so I'm going to do an Ansible Playbook and say web servers .yml and hyphen syntax check, so which will verify the syntax whether the Ansible is going to execute perfectly or not. Okay, looks good. Then we can execute the playbook here. So this way what it will do, it just goes and do the job for us, installing Apache server. So node 4 is changed, and copy the index.php file like HTML file, and done. You can see that. Now you can go to the node 4 and var www.html here, and you can see index.html file. Welcome to TechRKIIT. So if you want to browse this, you can also browse using this IP address on the browser. So that way, or you can also use systemctl status httpd whether the service is running or not. So this way you can simply make sure that you can create the multiple roles, or then do that. Example say I want to create a simple playbook, okay, so which maybe do on a ping to the remote host and come back here. Okay, so but I don't want to see anybody else who knows the password of that playbook. So in similar way, what you can do here is that Ansible Vault and say create. So I say simple.yml is the file I would like to create it. Okay, let's say, and provide the password. Now it will ask you to write the playbook. So here is the playbook I'm just writing here. Say ping server. Okay, I say host all, and I use tasks as ping module. I'm just using the ping module. Okay, so this is the way I just use the playbook. So this is the way I just used to ping to the remote host. So if I see this, what is the simple.yml file looks like? So this is a completely encrypted file, but whenever you run that, it runs. Okay, but how you can run? Example say Ansible Playbook, and say simply specify that here. So it says that it is already encrypted, so you cannot run it. So if you want to run that playbook, so what you have to do, vault ask pass. So this is the way you have to sorry, it's not ask vault, so it's like something different, like ask vault password. So this way, so it will ask for the password. If you do this, then it execute it. So but it has some error on the playbook, so that's why it's not able to execute it. So this is the way. So you can create an encrypted playbooks using the create. Otherwise, if you want to use an existing playbooks, okay, these are the playbooks we used in previous sessions. I want to encrypt one of these playbook. So example, say that I would like to see this playbook here. So this playbook is SC Linux status changing playbook. So I'm going to encrypt this one. So Ansible Vault. So what you can do, encrypt and say the file name. So here it will ask you for the password and provide the vault password and remember the password. So now the file got encrypted. If you cat it, so you cannot do anything. So you just able to see some numbers. Okay, but if you want to execute that playbook and say SC Linux -ask vault password, okay, then it will ask you for the password, then you can enter the password and it will execute the playbook. So this is the way what you can do. You can encrypt the playbook and run the playbook on the remote host, or run the playbook when it will ask you for the password. So if you have the confidential information, example where what you have to encrypt in real world, where you have to use it. So basically you don't need to encrypt the playbook which does not have any confidential information, right? So where you do not specify anything like confidential port numbers or the passwords or the SSH keys, anything, you don't need to encrypt that playbook. It's just a plain playbook which does not contain any confidential information. You don't need to encrypt it, right? Because whenever you encrypting a lot of playbooks, you have to remember all of those passwords. But if you keep only single password for all of the playbooks, some way if the password is leaked, then again anybody can run any playbook, right? Anybody can decrypt it. So now if you want to edit that, how you can edit that encrypted playbook? So you can see this Ansible Vault edit and say name. So now it will ask you for the password, then enter the password. Now you can edit it and add whatever you want. Example, say I don't want to run it in all the hosts, I want to run it in only local host. This way you can edit that Ansible playbook and run it and enter the password, then it will run on here. So sometimes if you want to automate, so how you can automate it? So I want to run this playbook from some other source where it's already encrypted playbook. So how we can do that? So simply what you can do is that you can create a restricted playbook like so here I'm creating password file, something like this. So any file you can create with a different name. So here what you can do is that you can enter your password in the plain text. Then what you can do, while running that playbook, you can simply provide that playbook password using this string. So what is that string you have to use here? Vault password file and provide the password file path. So this way what it will do is that it will not ask you for the password when you are playing the playbook. So it will automatically run that playbook using that whatever the password you have written on the password file. This again the giving the password file, so that is not anyway secure, so why you have to keep again the password file. But if you want to run these playbooks from the different mechanisms, example say that if you want to run it from Jenkins, or if you want to run it from some other scripts or some other automation tools, then what you can do is that you can use this password file mechanism to keep your password somewhere else and completely restrict access to the other users. Only the particular user can read that file, then do this way. So that something little bit secure but not exactly secure, but you can do this way. Encrypted playbooks can be run from the password file, so that way you can do it. Sir, if you want to see this content of the playbook, so what you can do is that password vault view and specify the playbook name. It will ask you for the password and enter the password. This way you can view that if you have the password of that vault. Okay, so and you can able to decrypt if you want to decrypt this particular playbook, or if you want to change the password of that particular playbook, what you can do, Ansible Vault and say rekey, and provide the playbook name. So it will ask you for the password, then enter the new password here. So this way what happened, the rekey has been successful, the password has been changed for that particular playbook. So this way, what, no need to decrypt it and encrypt it again, you can just rekey it, so you can change your playbook password. So something like if you want to give the same playbook password to somebody else, you can give it, and later point if you want to change it, you can change it. So that way you can use this rekey to change your password. And let's see, Ansible also provide a little vault in this. There is a encrypt string. So what this will do is that particular string, if you want to encrypt it and use it on a file itself, so where you want to use the, instead of password, you can use this encrypted value over here. So example, say my password is Linux, I wanted to encrypt that one. So this way it will provide you the encrypted key here. Okay, and you can just copy this entire encrypted value here and edit your file. So where you want to provide, so example, say that here is my variable which contains the password. So here you simply paste it. So this way, so what you can do, so variable, this is not my exact variable here, I say db password, so this is my password. Okay, so this way you can provide your password in an encrypted manner, and you can call this variable wherever you want, so that the Ansible will take care of that decryption and provide the exact password to that. So this way it will be helpful for the users to encrypt particular string and provide that string as an encrypted into the playbook, so that what you can do, you can simply encrypted way of using the passwords. So or its most useful example here, let's say Ansible host. So this is my actual file where I am using, so the sensitive information, maybe here I did not use any passwords, if I specify any password here, I wanted to encrypt that one, so the inventory file I want to encrypt. So Ansible Vault and say encrypt and provide that path Ansible host, then it will ask you for the password, enter the password, then it will be encrypted. So now I want to run some playbooks. Okay, so here maybe I can take ping test. Ping test is the one, so I wanted to run it on node 2. Now Ansible Playbook and say I want to run this. I want to run this playbook, so ping test, you can run it, but what it says that the inventory is not passed, so you cannot do it. But if you say ask vault password, then it will ask for the password, then you can do this way. So somewhere like if you can create a new inventory file and you can encrypt that inventory file and you can directly run this. So what happens, you can in the inventory file itself, you can write any variables of the passwords and all this stuff. Then you can use that file as an encrypted to pass. Okay, this is about, guys, so what you can do Ansible real-time environments, like where you can encrypt, create an encrypted files and decrypt it. Okay, so example, say if I want to decrypt here, so I will show you how to decrypt. Simple decrypt and say SC Linux and say provide the password. So maybe I change the password here, so that's what it does not take. Okay, now you can cat that SC Linux. Now it's changed, so it is decrypted. That way you can do a encryption or the decryption, or you can edit the file, you can view the file, you can change the password using the rekey. So all of this stuff you can do using this Ansible Vault. So the mainly Ansible Vault is used wherever the structured data can be encrypted, or the example, the passwords or the SSH keys or whatever the confidential information you wanted to encrypt. That way you can use the encrypted, but do not forget the password of the playbook, so that you cannot run the playbook, or the playbook will be gone into encrypted. You cannot encrypt it, you cannot do a decryption, you cannot do anything if you forget the password of that particular file. Ansible tutorial next video here. So there is a break in Ansible tutorial videos, so but here we are continuing that Ansible tutorial. So Ansible tutorial, the next topic is that Ansible Galaxy. So how we can use this Ansible Galaxy, and what is this Ansible Galaxy is used for. So basically the Ansible Galaxy is a community, so where you can go here and see that this is on a community, Ansible Galaxy.ansible.com. so here there is a lot of authors who use their playbooks, they publish the playbooks. So here example, say that if you go to the system here, and here there are, you can see this, there are so many stuff, like if you want to deploy a Docker example, you can go here and see this. He is an author, so you can see that the Greenling guy, so he writes very playbooks is very popular, so that you can see that. So these are the different versions of the OS platforms and Ansible versions here, so which is updated last 14 days ago, 2.6.0 Ansible module. So here you can simply click on the details and see about the author, and you can read the details about it, what exactly here it is. So how you can install this Docker using this Ansible Playbook. You can simply download this playbook by going into the, you can also go to this git repository of this and get this git repo, and you can use this one. So like this, so you can install or you can download the lot of Galaxy that playbooks. So roles are the playbooks from the already existing playbooks from the repository, and you can use it or you can modify it according to your use and use it. So that's what the Ansible Galaxy do here. So basically if you want to we already do some creating the roles, how we can create example Ansible -Galaxy. So Ansible Galaxy, so here you can simply do a initiate like init and say that testing. So what it will do is that here it will create a testing. So you can see that there is a testing role has been created. So this is the role structure. So this is how the Ansible Galaxy creates the role. So not only the creating the empty role on the Ansible Galaxy, but you can also search and download the existing repositories and modify them. So how we can use that? Ansible Galaxy, and here you can use the search option, and you can use the name, so which you wanted to search. Example, say that elastic search. So maybe if you want to select author, so author here, so and I'm just selecting the Girling guy. So this author is very popular, so he written so many playbooks. So this is the, you can see this Elasticsearch for Linux, Elasticsearch Philbeat for Linux, and Kibana for Linux log. So this is the description, and this is the Elasticsearch related Ansible. So you can use this name to download the one. So how we can do that? So Ansible Galaxy, and you can do a install and provide the name of the this one. So this is the name here, so name and role name to install the role. So simply install. So what it will do is that it will download the entire playbooks from that, and it will store it on the local. So that way what it will do is that, so you can see that. So here, okay, so you have to go to, sorry, you have to go to Ansible path and verify that one. Let's go into Ansible path and see that where exactly the Ansible role has been installed. So that basically it will install into the /root.ansible. So here there is a roles. So in this, so it will install here. You can see this Girlingai Elasticsearch and Girlingai Java. So this is how the roles will be downloaded and here. So if you go to the example, this path, so you can say this, there is a defaults. You can see this is the main ML file. So you can simply cat the main file, and you can see this. So this is what the exactly the playbook is. So when you are execute this playbook, so what it will do is that it will install this Elasticsearch on this. So that is what the you can use the Ansible Galaxy search and install the different roles. So if you want to know example that what is exactly the information on Ansible Galaxy, and you can say info and provide the username and the role name. So example here, the username here, it is that grilling guy. Okay, so example, or you can also take any other from the Galaxy website. You can see this is the community authors. You can go here, maybe there are so many, so maybe you will go with the category, like I would like to see some web related. So you can go to this guy, pure report. So you can see this, right? So this is the pure report. So this is the one, is the author name. So what is the role name here? So you can see this pure report. So this is the one. So you can just copy this one and search it for the information. So you can get this information here. You can see this, describe the path and role details, and will be displayed. So you can also use the search method. Yes, yeah, search. So example, I would like to see that, sorry, I would like to see the Docker. So there are so many Docker already published, the roles are published. So you can simply search for the Docker. There are so many, you can see this, right? There are so many. So out of this, which one you want to download? So from this, you can just select the name here and you can download that one. So Ansible, let me clear the screen, Ansible Galaxy, and you can say that install and provide the name of that role, so that it will download here. So you can see this, and go to /root.ansible. So and here the roles are, and you can see this. So this is the playbook. So the role playbook, you can see this, and go to the defaults, and there is the main ML file, and just cat it. So this is the main ML file. You can just run this using the Ansible so that it will install your Docker container here. So that is how you can search for the Galaxy, and you can also contribute. You can also create your own Galaxy authorship here. You can simply go to this community and get the help, or get the so many repositories over here. You can see this 1800 change pages, the 1800 changes, then so many authors has joined here. You can search for anything what you want. You can just download that roles, and you can modify it and use it according to your requirement. So that is about this Ansible Galaxy. Please follow us on social networking sites. One is Facebook. The Facebook page name is @Linux Arkit. You can click on this button here and click like page so that you can follow us on Facebook. The next one is Instagram. Instagram page name is arkit.co.in. Click on follow button to follow me. And Twitter, if you have any questions on subject line, or if you have anything, you can just tweet me at @ravikumar48. So I will reply you most on the tweet back. For anything related, if you want the latest articles on my website, so here is my website details and email address details. You can reach me over here.